Bitcoin has just taken us once again downwards into what I believe the technical term is Goblin Town. That's right, we seem to be nuking without any pause for a while here. It really feels as though the chart wants to go lower. Again, there's just not a lot of strength to the upside, and we keep having weaker relief rallies, which to me is a good sign that there might be more pain ahead. Just so you guys who might be new don't remember this maybe, I was here every day making content throughout 2018, and there was so much optimism, so much hope on every rally, and the dreams just kept getting crushed and crushed and crushed. Now, do I think it's going to be the same? No. Clearly from this cycle, nothing was exactly the same as a prior cycle. Now, do I believe that there's still a lot of hope that we could go upwards and have a very bullish end of year? Yes. In fact, the best case scenario right now is that we go sideways and just kind of cling on here and reaccumulate in the 30s. However, if we are to nuke lower, and nasty nuke at that, it would absolutely destroy the altcoins. As we've been seeing here, Bitcoin dominance has been growing, now up to 45%, as the entire market cap's suffering. So Bitcoin going down in price as the dominance goes up means that people are leaving altcoins even faster than they're leaving Bitcoin, and they're leaving Bitcoin as well. And so that is a very, very unfortunate and bearish setup. Now that said, this doesn't mean that everything is negative, but it does mean that we need to be very realistic about what comes next. Again, I made my bear market video a couple of days ago. Then of course the market pumped and everyone was joking that I was the bottom signal. I would love nothing more than to be the bottom signal and to have this market just explode upwards after I capitulate. But unfortunately, that's not the world we're living in. Right now, it feels as though caution is the number one thing that I can emphasize here, and preservation of whatever capital you have. Now, I know it might seem like you started with a lot and have a lot less, but having lived through 2018, I remember nobody thought that Bitcoin would go under 10K, and eventually it did. And then nobody thought it would go under 6K, and eventually it did. And nobody thought it would go under 4K, and eventually it did. So I'm not saying that any of these similarities are going to reoccur. I'm just saying that preserving capital for if and when things do go lower is a very smart idea, just because you're going to want to be there to buy that really horrific blood. When it went down to 3K, the people who bought there, well, they made insane money. And so it's just about understanding that these bear markets, these horrific bloody trends end up presenting opportunities. And so that's where we're at right now. Is I'm looking for essentially an opportunity. And I do believe that if I wait on these sidelines, I'm either going to see the market reaccumulate and get stronger over the next few months, probably, weeks or months, and then start trying higher into the 40s and 50s again. And then I'll think, okay, well, the altcoins are really pummeled. So they probably won't have come all the way back just because Bitcoin puts itself up in the mid-high 40s or 50s. Probably what we'll see is that there'll be plenty of time to get these altcoins. And so that's when I'll start redeploying into these altcoins. Again, like I said, I'm not trying to catch the ultimate low, and yes, I will be buying bags that have 2 or 3x'd, but I know that there's more bullishness ahead as opposed to just yet another bearish correction that's looming right now, which is what it feels like. So that's where I'm at right now. I did make a video that said bullish again, ? And what my conclusion was is that no, we're not fully bullish again, and that nothing we've seen is guarantee that we're turning bullish again. So just because there's a title or a provocative title doesn't mean that that's the ultimate message of the video, guys. Watch the videos, please, before you comment on the actual substance. Now that said, I would love nothing more than to flip bullish again, and I'll tell you why I'm still extremely optimistic and why I won't be going anywhere. Because the reality is the macro landscape for cryptocurrency is only getting better and better by the day. We have here a report that Bank of America, quote, crashes the transitory party and sees up to 4 years of hyperinflation. And this is, of course, showing the inflation chart, as you can see here, which is actually mentions of inflation year over year and the CPI year over year RHS. And you just see them explode upwards past, hundreds of percent growth, past what has been the norm. Even in 2007, 2008, you didn't see this kind of explosive growth. And so what I'm seeing here is a landscape of hyperinflation in the dollar, and that generally would mean that things that are priced in dollars would go up in value, especially scarce ones or hard capped assets like, Bitcoin. So to me, the actual macro landscape is only getting better, even though the charts look god-awful right now, to be honest. So it's a little bit of a tale of two cities. It is the worst of times and it is the best of times, because you're getting cheaper entries into an asset that is clearly fixing a horrific problem in our modern monetary system. However, you might be looking at an absolute capitulation on Bitcoin that might be caused by energy FUD, by China FUD, shutting down miners selling so they can relocate. Whatever, the point is that this is an opportunity, I believe, to get in on Bitcoin, to rewind the clock back past that 2021 explosion, and to then actually get some amazing entries. So if we look at this as a potential revisiting of the lows of the $20,000 range or even below there, I am going to be looking to deploy most of my capital when I feel like we're at max pain. That's what was really the actual way to do it, but there's no way to know that. So what I'm actually going to do is dollar cost average. If we break below 30K and start heading below into the 20s, then I'll probably start dollar cost averaging, looking to do some bigger block buys if I see some really nasty, 15, 20, 30% candles. If those do occur, I'll start putting in some bigger buys, as those typically have some pretty big corrections back to the upside. But again, we can look at the charts. We had such a clean breakout from 20K that it doesn't have to go back there. But again, the previous all-time high is usually seen as a good floor for the recent or newer run. So those are the levels I'm looking at. Again, I'm going to start bringing on Crown, my buddy who's a TA expert, who's actually, if I dare say so, the best trader that I've seen in this industry, someone who actually trades, verifies their trades, and has made his whole living trading Bitcoin. And so he's a good person to check in with the actual specifics of the charts. But as you can see, we have this insane hyperinflation backdrop here, which to me is an amazing, amazing story for the growth and continuation of Bitcoin's growth. Now, does that mean that we get immediate price upticks in Bitcoin? Well, clearly not. Clearly not. We're getting no immediate price uptick here in Bitcoin. But what we are seeing here is a potential opportunity for people who really want to radically transform their financial futures, buying in when things are in the rubble, not when things are on the up and up. Well, that's how you really counter trade and actually make money. But it takes a long time. Usually the bear markets turning to bull markets takes months or years, not days. As we were seeing profits come in the bull market, with altcoins doing insane growth in just a matter of hours sometimes. And that's why altcoins during the bull market are so transformative, and why I believe in altcoins during the bull market to be that way to make, insane amounts of profits. But just like they go up like crazy in a bull market, they go down like crazy in a bear trend. And that is unfortunately the double-edged sword that is the altcoin market. Again, there were a lot of new people on the channel that came in 2021. The channel grew super fast, but I didn't quite clock that there was such a difference in skill and aptitude. So we're going to be doing a lot of sort of more introductory course materials here on the channel, just helping people get from 0 to 60 or cruising altitude here, so that they can actually understand and navigate this industry a little better, like some of the OGs of the channel that have been with me all throughout 2020 that really were much better at navigating the market's ebb and flow. So that's coming, a lot more beginner materials and definitions, and helping people just get to this functional place within the industry so that you can actually navigate, hedge risk, and not be in as bad a position when the market does correct inevitably in the future. We also have Marvel doing NFTs with Ecomi, and these will include some, famous characters such as Wolverine, Spider-Man, Iron Man, Captain America. This stuff is really interesting. I want to reiterate that, companies like Marvel will eventually do NFTs all over the place. There's probably not going to be any exclusive licenses like this. I know that there's an app called Quid, which is part of the Animoca Brands family, and, we're going to be collaborating with them. They have Marvel licenses. They're doing a lot of NFT stuff. So what's interesting to see is there's like a big battle for IP with NFTs right now, but I think the IP battles are actually kind of a bit of a distraction. What we're seeing is that the most valuable NFT properties are original IP created exclusively or specifically for the NFT format. These include things like CryptoPunks, things like Bored Ape Yacht Club, things like these generative art collectibles, or just straight up crypto art, and NFTs with utility and ecosystems. These are the really interesting things that I think are the main focus. And it kind of reminds me of the video game industry. If you can think, the actual video game industry mostly thrives off original IP, things like Fortnite, things like Call of Duty, things like Warcraft. And yes, there are occasionally games like, Star Wars games and games like 007, GoldenEye back in the day on Nintendo 64. But for the most part, video game IP has thrived with original IP. It's not really about the actual licensing of the IP. It's more about the gameplay and the experience. And that kind of reminds me a lot, there's some parallels there to the NFT world. It's all about the original IP, the experience, and the continuity and creation within this new format. So this is really cool stuff, but I think the licenses are a little bit of a distraction, and that original IP, especially NFTs with utility, as I talk about time and time again, well, that's something that is very, very interesting, and I believe will be the main dish in NFT land, just like video games original IP was the main dish in gamer land. And finally, we have Elon Musk agreeing to speak with Jack Dorsey about Bitcoin. I don't really know if this is something that will be good or bad. It might be as bad as it is good, but people are excited about this. I don't know. I'm a little bit over Elon Musk kind of whipsawing the crypto markets. I think it's better if he just takes a break. But Jack wants to drag this out. So I don't know. I'll probably grab some popcorn and watch it. It might be entertaining at the very least. I'm a big fan of Jack Dorsey. And well, before the crypto stuff, I've obviously been a big fan of Elon Musk. So maybe there's a road to redemption here, along with the recovery of the market. That's certainly something that we can all hope for and look forward to. Now, as a YouTuber, I know everybody always wants something to do, something immediately that they can make actionable. And there's a lot of pressure on YouTubers to always say, do this, do that. Of course, not financial advice, just what we're doing, but people want instructions. I mean, people demand instructions. The reality is that in moments like this, there's not necessarily a move except to cover and to de-risk. And for that reason, it's sometimes a little bit annoying during these during these sideways, during these correction markets, as there's not a big play. Unless you're really good at trading and you know how to short. That's not me. I'll bring on Crown and talk about how to short. If you guys want that, we're certainly happy to supply TA content. However, the reality is that right now I've been on wait and see mode, as I've said for the last few weeks, and that has allowed me to preserve a certain amount of capital in case things really nasty nuke, and there opens up just a glamorous opportunity to buy some extremely undervalued coins. That's what I'm going to be looking forward to, and that's what my play is, and I certainly hope that that has been informative. But as I've said on previous videos, the most important thing is to not turn off and completely ignore crypto, because then you'll miss that magical first re-enlivening awakening of the market again, and that's where you get these crazy entries with far less risk to the downside, because you're seeing the market wake up, you're seeing a lot of things come to life and spring to life, and that is precisely the opportunity to make the most transformative gains, because you don't have all this altitude from the coins going extremely high, going 10, 20, 30, 100x, and that's a lot of room to fall. Whereas if you're starting at the bottom, at the baseline, after the coin has really been, in the dumps for several weeks or months or even years sometimes, well, as the market re-enlivens, that's when you can make these amazing gains. And so I'm waiting for things to get really dreary to deploy a lot of capital. Those bear market moves have made people insanely wealthy, and that's how I plan to play my stack. I sincerely hope that these videos have been informative. Again, I'm not going anywhere, rain or shine. I'm going to be making content here, helping to keep you up to date with the newest and truest here in crypto land. Now, if that's of value to you, please give me a thumbs up. It's a free and easy way to support the channel, as well as make sure that you leave a comment below, as each and every comment is entered to win a Ledger Nano S. If you want more content like this, make sure you subscribe and put that bell notification on. We're going to give away the Ledger Nano S right now. We're picking a number between 1 and 14 here on Google's random number generator. We get number 14 here. So let's go to the page. Let's count back 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We have the absolute best chart here. And we're going to go ahead, pick a comment from this video. Go ahead and get these comments, and we're going to pick a winner. Haas Cartwright says, I don't want to be the GOAT. Haas, feel free to DM me on Telegram at Elio Trades, and we'll go ahead and get you that ledger after confirming your identity. Thanks for everyone for playing, and of course, leave a comment. You'll be entered to win on the very next giveaway. My name's Elio Trades. I thank you so much for watching. You can follow me on Twitter. Link is in the description, and I'll see you very soon on the next episode.